What's up, y'all? It's Dr. Paul with a comic book mail call for Liberty Hill Comics, where I share my passion and over 40 years experience comic book collecting, investing, and conservation with you. Today we are going to cover the other half of my epic unboxing of two rare Golden Age comic books that I won at auction. The first was a high-grade issue of All-Star Comics featuring the Justice Society of America that I covered in my last upload, which you can view here if you missed it. The comic book we're discussing today you caught a sneak peek of in that last video. It's Shield Wizard #1, a rare pre-war first issue from MLJ Comics, the creators of Archie. We're going to discuss the origins and significance of the Shield and the Wizard, and the significance, rarity, and fair market value of this comic book today. So if that sounds like fun, stick around. I'm happy to say that Liberty Hill Comics is a finalist for the 2024 Comic Book Community Awards for YouTube content creators. Voting closed a little over a week ago, and the winners will be revealed live on November 2nd. I'll put a link in the description if you want to check the show out. I really appreciate being nominated and being a finalist, and I'm humbled to be included in the list of great comic book content creators. Good luck to all the finalists. Also, our weekly comic book conservation live show airs Sundays at 8:35 Eastern. I hope to see you there in the chat as I discuss everything comic book conservation related with my co-hosts Phil from Phantom Restoration and Larry from Flying L Comics. My first impression is, what a great comic book. I just love the patriotic themes of this cover, and you can see how nationalism is getting spun up in 1940, despite the U.S. not yet being involved in the conflict that was brewing in Europe at the time, but would soon engulf nearly the entire world. Overall, this comic book presents pretty well and has decent eye appeal, and appears to have good structural bones. Let's take a closer look in better light and ask, what is it and why do we care? This is Shield Wizard #1 in CGC 3.5 Universal with cream to off-white pages. It's the June 1940 issue, published in the early pre-war era of the Golden Age of comic books. It's a beautiful entry-level copy, and I thought it might be a conservation opportunity. Shield Wizard is an anthology series with stories of two of MLJ's most popular pre-war characters, the Shield and the Wizard, and the first issue includes origin stories for both. Although published 6 months after the introduction of the Shield, it's the first time his origin story is told. With only 66 universal copies in the CGC census, it's a rare comic book indeed. We'll discuss the content and fair market value in a bit, but first some background on Shield Wizard as a title. What is Shield Wizard Comics? It's a 13-issue series published from the summer of 1940 through the winter of 1944 by MLJ Magazines Inc., which most collectors just refer to as MLJ. MLJ is the company that brought us one of the most important intellectual properties in the history of comic books, Archie. In fact, the company was renamed Archie Comics in 1946 after its most successful character, and it still exists today, bringing us new Archie comics as well as many other media properties, including the hit streaming series Riverdale. The Shield debuted in Pep Comics #1 on the stands in November of 1939 with a January 1940 cover date, a full year before Simon and Kirby debuted Captain America for Timely in Captain America Comics #1, making the Shield the first patriotic-themed superhero in comic books. Pep Comics and the Shield were immediate hits, and within a few months the Shield was headlining Shield Wizard as well as Pep Comics for MLJ. In fact, Captain America's shield was changed from the design seen in Captain America 1 to the more familiar round design debuted in Captain America Comics #2 because MLJ accused Simon and Kirby and Timely of plagiarism regarding Captain America being an obvious copycat of the Shield. The Shield's origin is presented for the first time in this issue. He is Joe Higgins and was billed as the G-Man Extraordinary. A chemist by training, in fact he earned his PhD in chemistry, Joe Higgins is a special member of the Federal Bureau of Investigation whose identity is known only to J. Edgar Hoover. He fights enemies of the state using superpowers granted him by virtue of a chemical formula he perfected after his father worked on it until his untimely death. The chemical formula gave him great strength and invulnerability. His popularity was buoyed by a fascination with the newly created FBI, which was less than 5 years old when Pep Comics 1 hit the newsstands. The Wizard's first appearance was in Top Notch Comics #1, with a cover date of December 1939, predating that of the Shield by 1 month. At first he had no superpowers. He was born Blaine Whitney, a man with superior mind and body and wealth, all of which he plied towards serving his country. He defeated our enemies mostly with fantastic inventions. Later, he gained the ability to see important events occurring anywhere in the world, allowing him to foil plans of enemies of the United States. Shield Wizard #1 features 2 stories of a predecessor of the Wizard of the 1940s, his original namesake, Blaine Whitney of pre-revolutionary America. Ancestral Blaine had super strength and speed in addition to his ability to see events occurring far afield. He used these powers on several occasions to help the colonists, which led to the colonists burning his father at the stake as a witch. His father's dying wish was that he always use his powers for his country. Thus he adopted the slogan, "My country, right or wrong," despite the colonies not yet having declared independence. Shield Wizard #1 is a pretty rare book. There are only 66 universal copies in the CGC census with a median grade of 5.5. At 3.5, this copy ranks in the bottom quartile of the census. It has a multitude of flaws, including a partially split spine, tanning, tape, creasing, and stress lines. So what is this comic book worth? It's difficult to place a fair market value on this comic because, due to the low census count, they trade hands rather infrequently. This copy came to auction on Heritage, and there had not been a recent sale in grade, so I had to use my best judgment on the fair market value based on the most recent sale at the time, which was a copy graded 6.0 with cream to off-white pages, which sold for $2,250 plus shipping and taxes in March of 2023 in a fixed price transaction on eBay. I thought if I could get the 3.5 for less than half the 6.0 copy, I'd be doing okay. My winning bid was $900 with the buyer's premium plus shipping and taxes, although I knew the shipping would be halved because I had already won the All-Star comic in the same auction. Initially, I thought this copy might make a good conservation candidate and was thinking some tape removal and a spine split repair could get this book to a 5.0 conserve grade or thereabouts, and we could deacidify this book for preservation, which would almost certainly lighten the cream pages to off-white. That said, I'm not sure there would be any financial incentive for me to do so, so I think it may just be a labor of love. I know it's an embarrassment of riches to be able to afford nearly $1,000 for a funny book. For those that want to enjoy these comics in a more affordable format, check out the book America's First Patriotic Comic Book Hero, The Shield. I hope you enjoyed this unboxing and review. Do you think there's any equity to be gained by cracking this case and conserving this comic book? What would you do if it was yours? If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And until next time, happy hunting and take care of one another.